Welcome back to episode 21 of We Are Everywhere podcast. This episode today, I'm excited because I'm going to get to nerd out on some. If you know me, you know that I work in radio, and it's one of those things to where, like, if you've got the radio bug, quote unquote, you tend to nerd out about it with fellow radio people. And I've actually got another radio dude on today. He's a host and the ops manager for JEMP Radio. Mr. Andy Michels, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Great to be here. Now that I know how to use this equipment and how to do radio, it is an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, before we started rolling, we were having some technical issues.
Right.
We couldn't
You put
hear.
two pros together and it just falls apart.
Wait, I can't hear you. It's funny, but it happens though. Before we get into any Phish stuff, I do want to talk about JEMP Radio.
Yeah.
I want to know, and I'll tell you this first. I was talking with my girlfriend about because I'll tell her, oh, I got a new guest on, and I'll start telling her and we'll talk about it and everything. I was like, this guy he's works in hosts and is the ops manager for JEMP Radio, and she's like, what's that? And so I was explaining to her, I was like, it's a community radio, and I was like, and it's the first letter of each of the band members' names.
Right.
And so she was putting it together, and she was like, wait, what's the E?
Yeah.
And I was like, Trey's name is Ernest.
Right.
And she was like, what? I was
nice.
like, yeah. And unless you're in the fold, pretty deep, you wouldn't really know that. So I got to give her a little nugget of Ernest Trey knowledge. But yeah, tell me how you came to be with JEMP Radio. What's your role? How did it all come to be?
Yeah, sure. So the station has been on the air since 2014, and I think that surprises a lot of people when they hear that. I think that there's maybe a misconception among some people in the community that JEMP Radio was created after a certain satellite station went on the air. And no, we were here first. We were doing it well before the other guys were.
I like how you say a certain.
Yeah, certain. Yeah, we're not. Yeah. So anyway, JEMP Radio came on the air in 2014. There's a guy out in Maine. His name, his on air name is Race, and he's in radio. He's been in radio practically his whole life. He's what does he do now? He's like a sales guy or something.
The sales side.
Yeah, he's on the sales side now. And he hates it.
Making the money though.
Right, exactly. So he in 2014 he started his own little side radio station, and got a couple friends involved, and he started playing Phish, and he started playing other things, and then just more and more Phish was added to the rotation. And then eventually he decided, you know what, we're just going to take this. It's going to be a Phish community radio station. He thought, all right, we need a call sign, so JEMP.
Yeah.
So 2014 is when JEMP Radio officially started, and it was about 2016, maybe late 2015, when I was perusing on the Facebook. You remember Facebook?
Oh, yeah.
And right, and I was on the Surrender to the Flow page, and Christy had been posting about JEMP Radio, and I'm like, whoa. What do we got here?
Thanks for the plug. Yeah.
No, it was, I hadn't been in JEMP Radio yet. I was perusing down Surrender to the Flow, and I saw she was plugging JEMP Radio, and it's like, oh, well, we have a Phish radio station. What is this? I love radio and I love Phish.
Right.
So I reached out to her and I said, and she knew who I was at that point, and I sent her some old podcasts that I used to do, and I'm like, hey, could you send these over to Race, maybe get me in touch with the guy, and maybe we can do something. And so she did. She got us in touch, and he listened to some of the old stuff that I did, which nobody needs to hear. Yeah,
it's always fun listening to your old air checks and stuff.
It is locked away. It is. Nobody will ever hear that. So anyway, but he liked it. And he's like, yeah, let's do this. So I came on. I was doing a recorded show. It was called All Things Reconsidered. And it was awful.
No,
it was not me. It was. I like to do things live, and so it was just recording a show. Obviously, nothing against recording a show, but for me, every week recording a show and like having an outline and everything, I don't know, it didn't work because I wanted to do whatever the hell I wanted. I
You like
wanted
to wing it. Yeah.
exactly, and I want to play music, and I just want a stream of consciousness, literally a stream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so after doing All Things Reconsidered for a little while and realizing how much it sucked, and I'm like, we need to make a change here, right? We need to do something else before I completely ruin my reputation, even more. So he, yeah, I made it quite clear that, like, look, I can handle doing this live, and over the years, I became the right hand man, the number two at JEMP Radio, and that's how he gave me this title because, like, the website, the web, the scheduling system online, all that kind of behind the scenes stuff, I just kind of took over and was doing. So he's like, all right, well, so you can be our ops manager. And if you want to start doing a live show, I've got a whole studio set up. So I was doing live Sunday nights for a little while. Sundays wasn't really working for me. So he moved me to Saturdays a couple years ago. Saturday nights, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, a nice time slot. And, so that's what I've been doing. And I'm live sometimes throughout the week, every once in a while, if there's something going on, or if I'm bored, or if I took time off of work. I have no other life. I have nothing else to do. When you think about it, I can go live every Saturday night. What 33-year-old guy has nothing better to do than sit here for 3 hours live on a Saturday night and play music for a bunch of people? That's me. So,
but it's
anyway,
fun, right? I mean,
I fucking love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's kind of what I was saying, like in the intro, is like, I call our group of radio people, I say like radio nerds, because we're all kind of nerds. We like to nerd out on this stuff. And like, yeah, to a normal person, you'd be like, damn, dude, every Saturday night you're sitting in your studio doing a radio show. Like, don't you want to do anything else? It's like, no, like, dude, this is fun to me.
That's
like,
why I can't get any help. Like, I try to get a co-host. I try to get, somebody to, just somebody to banter with. And when I, they're like, oh yeah, that's great. Yeah. I'd love to
Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, well, here's the thing. And then I never hear from them again. And it's like, okay.
I mean, and that's a tough slot to fill, I mean, granted, because, you take a typical person's work week, it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, whatever. And then like the only time you get to yourself is like the weekends, and you're like, oh man. But yeah,
who wants to spend that with me for 3 hours bullshitting about it? I completely understand. So
dude, we're on the same, obviously these are pre-recorded, these aren't live, this is a podcast, but I do the same thing. My weekends are recording podcasts because I think it's fun.
I love, by the way, that we're in the same state. We had no idea. Like, you're what, an hour from me or something?
Yeah, like
I live in Lansing.
Hour. Yeah, so you're in Lansing. You reached out on Twitter, and I was like, oh shit, and like started following and everything. And I was like, dude, this is fucking cool. Like right here in Michigan, and yeah, you're about an hour and a half southwest.
Yep.
I'm in Bay City. But yeah, dude, fucking crazy. I was like, dude, same state, like doing the same.
Were you just at Deer Creek, by the way? Did you go?
We did not do Deer Creek this year. Whenever we did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever tickets, went on sale in the lottery and everything, we were sitting down, and I was like, man, I know that I have to put in for Dick's because that's always like the one that's hardest to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't been to a Phish show at DTE since like 2011.
Yeah, that was that one, dude. That was fucking awesome. I saw you interviewed the attendance bias guy because he was at that show, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That was my no, that's whenever I was on attendance bias, and that's the
right.
I picked the disease from that show.
Right.
But yeah, so I didn't remember like, okay, is it gonna be easy to get tickets for DTE? Like I can't afford like getting shut out like in Michigan. Like I have to put in for this as well. And so after we did that, because I'm putting in, for myself and for my girlfriend, I'm like, damn, my credit card is going to be hurting if I hit on all these, So like we were going to make Deer Creek like a last minute decision, which is always a good thing to do. Right. But yeah, we wound up missing Deer Creek, didn't go, which is, okay, but still like knowing
Dude.
I almost said simple. That was last year.
Yeah,
The
right.
sand from
Dude,
93. I was like, wow.
I
Missed that
was
one.
I was standing off somewhere near one of the those very bougie pavilion things that they got set up throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was standing off there, just whatever. And okay, they started playing sand, and then when that moment when you could tell like, oh, they're going somewhere with this, I just like instantly, it was just like I just out of body experience. I just moved closer and closer and just stood there, and my jaw was, I think my jaw was open the entire time, the entire like half hour. I was just in complete awe of what I was. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, no, it's funny whenever those things happen, because and you said it perfectly. Like if they're playing a song to where like a sand, you're
Right.
like, okay, this is probably gonna be, 10
Yeah.
minutes max. I know what's going on, I'm not really quote unquote missing anything.
Right.
And then like it gets to a certain point and you're like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah, this should be
Hold on.
done by now. What's
Yeah,
going on
what's
here? Right.
happening?
Right. Yep.
But yeah, I was talking, and I'm not shitting on the sand at all. I don't want it to be misconstrued that way. But I'm in a group text. I'm in a fuck ton of group text.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I love it. And this is one with obviously all of my Phish buddies, and we're talking about the sand. At first, we're like, holy shit, 34-minute sand. And like after everyone listened to it, our general consensus, and with you being there, I'm curious to see what your thought is. Our general consensus is like, with getting like a 34-minute jam, like just on paper before you've even listened to it, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to have a lot of like theme changes, a lot of different like sections, different areas. But after listening to the sand a couple of times, it didn't really feel like there were a lot of changes or theme or melodic changes or things like that. It seemed pretty standard throughout.
Yeah, I think there was that one change in the beginning, the change where I realized that this was going somewhere.
Right.
And then I think then it just kind of stayed in that general, and I'm no music, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it stayed in that general melody, but it was still, to be able to jam that out for fucking half hour, it was just phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
it shows that you don't necessarily need to have the jam go in 20 different directions for it to be great.
Right. And that's why I wanted to preface by saying, like, I'm not shitting on this. I'm just making an observation of like, yeah, they don't always have to be, like you said, 20 different directions.
Right.
And I guess that's my own fault, because seeing it on paper, you're supposed to not have expectations. I was like, oh shit, 34 minutes. I was like, this is going to go places.
Yeah.
And then after I got done, I was like, well, it went somewhere. It just didn't go a lot of
somewhere. Right. Yeah.
But that's cool, man. I'm jealous that you got to see that. And obviously, you're going to Pine Knob?
Yeah, it would be kind of ridiculous if I didn't make the pilgrimage to Pine Knob. I'm going to go to Blossom. Cool. Because I think they're right next to so Blossom, and then I'm going to drive back home, the 4-hour drive home from Blossom, sleep, and then go to Pine Knob. Like, there's no point in staying in Ohio. I'm fucking staying in Ohio.
And for those of you that don't know, Michigan and Ohio have kind of a beef.
It's not even a beef. We're just like better. There's no comparison. We're fundamentally better.
That's exactly how our like me originally being from Oklahoma. That's how we are with Texas. We're like, Texas.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But let's get into some Phish, man.
All right.
We already talked about JEMP and how you came to be on JEMP Radio and everything.
Yeah, and let me just JEMPradio.com.
Plug it, man.
Yeah, our brand new beautiful website, JEMPradio.com. You can listen to us there. You can open up the your cell phone, open up the mobile app, JEMP Radio app. You can download it for free. We're on TuneIn, we're on Radio Garden, we're on like all these obscure fucking apps, these radio apps. We are everywhere. And we're free. We are legit, real radio station. That's how we've managed. Like, we're not some Mixler or whatever. We are a real radio station. We are licensed. It's not like we're taking money away from the band. If anything, we're giving them money because we have to. And
a lot of people don't realize that when you play songs, like the
Dude, the
bands.
licensing fees it's insane because we have to get, it's just a blanket license.
Yep.
And so so there's a donate button on JEMPradio.com to help offset that a little bit. And but even if nobody donated, we would still do it.
Okay, let's get into your
Yes.
your personal Phish story.
Yes. Let me bring up the answers to the questions because I already forgot everything here.
Oh,
So, all right,
yeah.
we're good. All right.
Yeah. So how did you get into Phish? How did you discover Phish? How old were you? Where were you at in life? How did it happen?
I don't remember exactly how old I was. So I'm 33 now. So I was in I'll say probably middle school, that area. And my aunt and uncle at the time were, well, they still are, but they're not married anymore. So they were deadheads, like huge deadheads. They had seen 90s Jerry, and they, when I was growing up, I didn't belong in any of the usual normal scenes.
Gotcha.
I wasn't listening to what everybody else was listening to. I really wasn't listening to anything. I was just listening to whatever the hell came on that I thought sounded cool, but I wasn't a fan of anything. I
No
was
direction, really.
right. I was trying to be. I was trying to discover what I was going to be into, and everything that I was trying was garbage. You had your Limp Bizkit and all that. It was just like, what the hell am I doing? So anyway, so they're like, well, how about we get you off of this shit and we'll try to listen to some of this.
This is your aunt and uncle?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So they introduced me to the Grateful Dead, and life-changing,
Yeah.
and literally life-changing. Like I'm wearing, I start growing my hair out and everything, and so I'm into the Dead and love the Dead. Who doesn't? And then one day we were going somewhere. I was going somewhere with them, and they put in, I think they put in Lawn Boy. No, I'm sorry. They put in Rift. They put in Rift. Of course, they put it
even better.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite. They put it because I remember the horse and Silent in the Morning. They put it in Rift, and I'm like, what is this? This is amazing. And so they told me, well, this is Phish. And so I started listening to more and more Phish, and my uncle started giving me, CDs of shows, and it was from there. It was like, all right, that's it. I love the Grateful Dead. I always will love the Grateful Dead, but Phish has taken the number one spot, and I dove in, and of course, when I really started to get into them, unfortunately, it was like 2004, 2005. And so it was like, all right, well, I guess I have plenty of time to go back and listen to everything, because it's not like there's going to be anything else coming up here.
Yeah.
And then, much to our surprise, a few years later, and that's when I saw my first show, 3609 in Hampton, Virginia. When those shows were announced, if you remember that YouTube video, the YouTube teaser, it was like a 1 minute.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was like somebody painting the Hampton Coliseum, and there was a jam that was playing from a Hampton show, and it was released in October 2008 on YouTube, and it was their way of announcing the Hampton '09 shows. Anyway, so when that came out and I saw that, I'm like, I have to go. Right, I got to be there. And so got tickets, went there with a friend.
Hold on real quick. How hard was it for you to get tickets? Because I know with those shows, a lot of people were like,
it was incredibly easy. Really? I don't remember. Was there a ticket request thing? Was there a lottery thing? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I just remember like with those shows with like the, second coming, so to speak, they were in high demand. Like even some of my buddies, that went to those shows were like, dude, we're going to get shut out. And
I had no problem. I had no problem getting tickets. And that's kind of been like a common theme for me, is I typically don't have problems getting tickets. Like,
you're one of those people.
Yeah, I always score in the lottery. It's like,
nice.
No problems every time. So we got tickets. We went there. We drove there. It was a nightmare. again, it was my first show. I was green. I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Sure.
I didn't book a hotel until we were 20 minutes outside of Hampton. And it wasn't even a hotel. It was and of course it ended up being like this shitty motel. The continental breakfast was like a cereal dispenser,
Yeah.
and that's where we ended up staying for $3,000.
Yeah. Oh
And
my God.
yeah.
Seriously?
Oh, dude, I was so stupid. I also thought that I could park my at the time I was driving a 2000 Ford Windstar, driving down the road in my little minivan. And I thought we can park this at a hotel near the Coliseum that we're not staying at, no problem. And then
Yeah.
after the show, of course, it was gone.
Oh,
So yeah, so
dude.
when they played Contact at Hampton, it was like, oh yeah, when your car gets towed, yeah, okay, yeah. So then my
Oh,
friend and I were walking around the streets of Hampton and Newport News, and walking into like Crips and Blood territory,
uh-oh.
trying to find this place where my Ford Windstar had gotten towed to. It was and again, we're like 19, 20,
Yeah.
just a couple of idiots. So yeah, but anyway, so that was how I got into them, through my aunt and uncle. And that period of time before 3609, I was able to just listen to everything as much as I could. And so going into 3609, like I was ready. And then they played Backwards Down the Number Line. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Never heard this.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, and I think that's so interesting. I mean, I'm going to use the word interesting, like with
Mhm.
people that are because you said you're 33, I'm 31, so we're
Mhm.
right around the same age. And I feel like a lot of people that are our age kind of have that similar story of,
Yeah.
yeah, discovered the band in like '04, '05, whenever they, weren't playing,
Right.
got hooked on this thing and was like, damn, like I'm never going to see my
Right.
favorite band live. And
Right.
then in '09, like you described, like the excitement. I can't place the YouTube video right now, but I just remember hearing like, holy shit, they're back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm going to get to see them.
Yep.
It's a lot of people in our age have that same, path.
And what's
Um,
amazing is that they've been back longer than they were. It's not even like you don't even think about the fact that they're back from a breakup now.
right. Yeah.
Because it was 5 years, and they've been back much longer than that now. It's
Yeah.
just a little blip in the
Yeah.
in the timeline.
A
Yeah.
couple of blips, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
glad that everyone in the band is, hell, I've said this a million times on here. I'm glad that
Mhm.
everybody's healthy
Mhm.
in a good space, and
Mhm.
you know, I hope they're playing well into their
Yeah.
80s,
Yep.
because it's one of those things, like I catch my brain going negative sometimes because I'm like, this is my favorite thing in the world. Like,
Yeah.
this is my favorite thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
go to Phish shows, talk about Phish, listen to Phish.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
bar none.
Yeah. And they're
And
gonna die eventually. Right.
I wasn't gonna say it like that, but yes,
Well,
dude.
but hey, at least we got
Yeah.
Goose right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, you know what's funny? You know what's
Yeah.
funny? I've heard of Goose.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard in this
Yeah. How
space
can you
to
not?
not,
Right. Right. Yeah.
but
A lot of money is being put into making sure you hear about Goose. Right.
I can honestly say to this point right now, I haven't listened to any Goose. I really haven't. I really haven't, man.
I have some. I've played some on my show. I think shit. What am I? I did an interview I interviewed Goose a couple years ago. When you go to their website, it's still on there.
Really?
Yeah, my old All Things Reconsidered interview with them. People still listen to it every once in a while. They're great guys. I just how do I put this?
Yeah, easy. You got an interview with the guys.
Right. I don't want them to take anything. It's not that I'm not sold on them yet. I just it's just going to take me a little bit.
Sure,
It's taking me-
and I totally understand that,
Yeah.
because I feel like that's the reason that I haven't even dove in yet,
Right.
because I know.
They need to prove to me that they're not like plants, that they're not, that they weren't injected into the scene. They need to prove that they're not
Oh,
that somebody's the mastermind creation of somebody. Like, oh, we need to have a backup plan for when Phish retires. They got to
right.
prove that to me. They got to prove that they are somewhat organic. That this wasn't just a big conspiracy, because that's what everything is nowadays, right? So
It's the conspiracy show.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just knowing how I did my dive in with the Dead
Yeah.
and with Phish. I don't want to say that I don't have time for it, because that's a ridiculous thing to say. Like, but I
don't know. Some of their jams, it's like, really? 50 minutes?
They have 50?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They're already, but the jams do sound similar sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. No, I just
I
haven't
am
taken the
no
dive
expert by any means on Goose, and maybe
Gotcha.
that's the problem. So
I will dive into them at some point because at some point, when things, whether it's a band or a piece of technology or whatever it
right,
is, over time it proves to be undeniable. Kind
yeah,
of like Phish and the Dead.
right,
They're undeniable. And I feel like whenever Goose gets to that point, I have no problem like being a bandwagoner for whatever that's worth. But I guess whenever I feel like they're undeniable and not just like fleeting, kind of like to the point you made, that's when I'll dive
yeah,
in and I'll
yeah.
become a noob in the almost said Phish. I'll become a noob in the Goose scene and get
Right. We'll be
educated.
those middle-aged, white dudes that are like, Goose.
We'll be like the deadheads that transferred to the
Exactly.
fit.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
what's going on here?
Right. Back in
Um,
my day, these
yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah, back in my day, there were no deals on the nitrous tanks. So we talked about how you got into Phish. We talked about your first show.
Mhm.
What over all this time, do you have a favorite year of Phish? A year that you keep going back to where you're like, man, just this era is like my
95.
shit. 95? It's a great year to pick.
Yeah. And when I was trying to think of like favorite jams and everything, I can't just think of one.
It's
Uh,
impossible.
yeah. So I started a list, and I
And it's
realized
7 pages long.
well, but I realized that the list is full of stuff from 1995
There you go.
when I was 6. you know,
Right.
But 95 Phish just it is. Yes, obviously there are other great years of Phish. People love the cow funk. They love the 97 through 99. People
Mhm.
love the 2.0. I do love me some 2.0 dark gritty Phish. I love that too. But 95 Phish is just the cream of the crop for me. Love it.
It it's really one of those years that's hard to beat.
Hmm.
And I love going through the progression of the band because in the 1.0 era, you can and I've talked about this before, you can really hear year by year how the band is changing and how they're growing and how they're developing. And each year almost has like
Not even just musically, but personally too. Like them growing up. Yeah, right.
yeah, and just watching that happen. And 93,
Oh yeah.
there are some I'll call them jams. There's some jams in 93 to where they're just firing on fucking 200%, all cylinders. I don't even know how human fingers move that fast.
Right.
And then they doubled down on that in 94,
Right.
especially Trey. But then by the time they get to 95, it's like you have this,
It was very carnal almost. 95 just
it's almost
was.
like this maturity
Yeah.
to where it's like, okay, we were been playing in like the minor leagues.
Yeah.
We're in the big leagues now.
Yep. Exactly.
And you
Right.
can hear that, like, just even how they presented themselves, to your
Yep.
point, like,
Yeah.
they're
They're playing with confidence. They were.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like they knew it's like something in 95, they were just like, okay, we know, like, we are the shit now.
Yep. Right.
If there was that's going back to being
Well, I think it was when
undeniable.
Jerry died. They're like, all right, well, I guess we're it. Maybe that was it. I don't,
Our competition's out of the
Right.
way. Oh, man.
Yeah.
And hey, I love Jerry. I've got him
Well, of course.
tattooed right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got yours. Hold on. Is mine
Oh, you got
showing?
one too? Let me
Yeah,
see.
mine's a little bigger.
Other way.
You see it?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right. Look, and I got the cat. And yeah, okay.
Yeah, we both got the
Right.
Steelies. So yeah.
No fish tattoo though.
Yeah,
Oddly enough,
I don't either, man. I've thought
because
about it.
I can't decide. Like, it has to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing like a Pollock,
Yeah.
type before, but
Well, I wanted the entire Rift, Welker. I wanted the whole fucking thing on my arm.
that would be cool.
Yeah, that's impossible. It's too detailed.
You'd have to go on the back
Right.
to make it big enough.
Yeah, but why would I want people to see it? So
You
I
just
was like,
you become the guy that takes your shirt off at shows, man.
yeah. Well, I want people to again. I want people to see it. So,
Yeah. But yeah, where were we?
I don't know. We were talking about jams and years and
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
95,
right.
95. But yeah, dude, that's a solid year to pick. I mean, it is really it's the cream of the crop. But I get so torn because I go through like phases, and
Mhm.
I'm sure that you do too, and everyone does. But like, I'll get like on a 99 kick, and
Mhm.
like all the
Yeah, right.
shit, and then like I'll be like, oh, I want some like
Yeah,
gritty.
all those young kids that were listening to the whale calls, the whale signals at the garden and in April, they're like, "Oh, what is this?" And like, "Oh, what is this?" Here's an entire year of it
Yeah.
right here.
And I love those, man. If
Yeah,
I'm in the mood for them.
yeah,
And it's so that's what's great about this band is, there really is within the same band, you can find different like whatever you're in the mood for.
right.
You don't have to jump around. You don't have to go to Goose or the Dead. Okay, favorite year of Fish 95.
Yeah,
And I know you said you made a list of your favorite jams, and
yeah.
just to make this hard and interesting, out of that list,
Okay.
the desert island question.
Well,
You're locked.
let me give you the list that I have so far,
Okay,
and then we could try, and then I can try to pick one. And then this is
narrow it
an
down.
incomplete list as well, completely
Okay,
incomplete. It's
sure.
full of 95. It's only a few. Then I'm like, I got to stop because really, I was just starting to list off everybody's favorite jams. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
what's
like,
hard. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so the Mud Island Tweezer.
Yes.
Oh, bro, it is beautiful. Like right when about 26 minutes, and it starts to get, you get that. I think there was a digital delay loop jam in there and everything. It's just fucking beautiful. I love the Mud Island Tweezer. The MSG 2019 Tweezer, also just beautiful. That particular part in the jam there. Then I go to the 11/22/95 Landover, Maryland free. There's no soundboard recording of it, but this is
Okay.
the longest free. It's the one that happened after the Aborted Rift, after Phish fucked up Rift. Then
See, I'm
Trey.
not familiar with this one.
I tell you what, if maybe I'll play it tonight on the JEMP Radio. If you
Okay,
tune
cool.
in, yeah, I'll play it tonight on the. It's an audience recording, but it's through my beautiful pristine system here. It sounds fantastic.
Cool.
So yeah, so the Aborted Rift, Trey was pissed. Well, not pissed, but was like, oh, we'd like to give credit that one to our drummer John Fishman. And then they went right into free, and it just it's over a half hour long. It is stunning. I love it. It's my favorite free. Free is my favorite song. That's my favorite one. And if there's ever a soundboard, if they release that show,
You're gonna lose your mind.
I will be catatonic for a month just listening to that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so 11/22/95 free. Love that. Then we go to the 12/14/95 Haley's Comet NICU. I was like, is that really a jam? But there is. Haley's Comet is jammed out. NICU is jammed out. I love that. 12/14/95, that whole show. And then I thought, oh, well, 12/14/95, the 11/14/95 Stash Fest. That whole thing. Including free. I'm sorry, Esther into Free. Obviously, I love Free. Free is a common, yeah.
It's funny, dude, because that's actually the song that hooked me. Like,
Yeah?
yeah, it was the Free from the Brooklyn box set.
Yes.
Or I'm not box set, but like the CD. It was like
Yeah.
2 or 3 CDs.
Yeah. The Moment
Um,
Dance
Yep.
into Free? Dude.
I've listened to that show more than I've listened to probably anything in my life. It was on repeat in my car, and dude, just that Free, like where Mike breaks down, like going into the jam.
Yeah.
I get goosebumps thinking about it, dude. But
It is
that's the one that hooked me. So we have that Free.
phenomenal. And the fact that was in 2004 it's yeah. So then the Albany Yem.
Oh yeah.
Love the Albany Yem, especially the little Beavis and Butthead figures in there that Page was playing. And the Radio City Ghost, 5/22/2000. Love the Radio City Ghost. And then, like I said, of course, then there's all the other favorite jams of everybody else that would be added on there. But if we take that list, I guess I got to go with between Mud Island Tweezer and that 95 Free. I'll have to go with Free. Just because, again, it is my favorite song, and Free was, I think that was the song that, we listened to Rift first, but then when I started listening to other stuff, the Billy Breathes Free, I listened to that, and I was like, So Free has become my favorite song. And yeah, that one, 11/22/95, Landover, Maryland. There's a recording of it out on YouTube or something. And yeah,
I'll have to check it
like
out.
I said, I'll play it tonight on the JEMP Radio. So.
Yeah, play it tonight, and I'll turn you on. I've got I'll turn you on.
Well, at least somebody is, right?
I've got this project that I've been working on. I found a coffee table on the side of the road, and it's
nice.
It's like a legit like wood, like vintage coffee table. So
Sweet.
I picked it up, and yesterday I started like the process of like sanding it down and everything. So
perfect.
I'm gonna finish that this weekend. So I'll have your show turned on.
Perfect.
While I'm doing that,
right?
And I'll listen to the Free that you're talking about. That's cool, man. The Free, yeah. I maybe I have heard it, but I've gotten to this point to where everything kind of blends together for me. I can't remember what shows I was at. I can't remember, if I've heard jams. And whenever I first got into Phish, I was like total stat nerd. I was like,
well, when was that?
When I got into them, like really deep. Between 06 and 09. Because whenever I discovered them in 04, it was kind of like a fleeting thing. I was like, piggybacking off of the Dead, and like looking like there's got to be some more things like this, and kind of discovered Phish through like Napster or whatever.
You downloaded Gin and Juice too, like everybody else, right? Yeah.
Everybody got the Gin and Juice, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, man. But yeah, so kind of fleeting in those years. But then whenever I really started like getting into it, close to that like end of high school era. And then in college, like whenever they came back, I was just doubled down. And
I tell you, when I was in, and that was the thing, getting into them at that period of time in my life when I was like in middle school and high school, it couldn't have been worse, because that's the time that you're like, developing as a person, and everybody's already super awkward. And I just took it to the fucking extreme, especially in high school. Like in my junior and senior year, I had a boombox, and back then a boombox, the little CD player boombox thing.
Yeah.
And my school, for some reason, gave me special permission. I was allowed between classes, before classes, and at the end of the day, I was allowed to play whatever the hell I wanted, full volume on this boombox, like through the hallways. Like I was just walking around through the hallways playing whatever I wanted. And it was usually like 80s stuff. Everybody fucking loved it. The kids loved it. The teachers loved it. Then I started playing like, some Phish and Dead and stuff. The teachers loved it. That was it. So what's funny is there's a girl, Kirsten. She was on lot. She's like, she sells a bunch of artwork and stuff. And I went to school with her, and she wasn't into them at the time. And then she was probably one of the people that's like, what the fuck is wrong with this freak walking around playing, what is this music?
Right.
And then I see her at the lot on Deer Creek. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I got you hooked. This
right.
Is
yeah.
I
right.
did this.
All those years of making fun of me for, here you are. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, how the tables have turned.
Exactly.
So I want to know, first off, how many shows have you been to?
25, which
25.
I think is an embarrassingly low amount for somebody that you would think that. But then again, I don't like to, go places.
Right. It's one of those things, like the show count, with it being a Phish podcast, I kind of have to ask. It's one of those things. It's like those badges. It's almost like, Boy Scout or Girl Scout patches that you have.
Right.
People take pride in how many shows they've seen.
Yeah.
And what era they've seen them in. But you have to keep in mind, this is almost like it's like a straight up privilege type accolade, because it costs money.
Yeah.
You have to have the means and the time off to go do these things. So it's not
right.
It's cool to be.
The people that have, maybe hundreds of shows under the belt, they've likely seen shows from 2.0, 1.0, shows that we didn't have a chance to see, which of course makes us, lesser fans than them. They are gods among us. But I think 25 since 3609, considering everything, and it's not too
Yeah,
bad. I
no,
guess, Yeah.
it's
I
it's
know I have absolutely no right hosting a Phish radio show.
dude, it's one of those things like they call it, and this might not be imposter syndrome, but kind of like I feel
Oh,
the
I got
same
that.
way.
Yeah.
It's like they're out of all of the people that are Phish
Right.
fans that have met the band, know the band, had dinner
Right.
with the band,
Right.
grew up. I'm the guy sitting here with a Phish podcast, having
Right.
people on my show. Same
Right.
with you. Like you're
Right.
hosting your radio show. Like,
Yeah.
why me? Like, well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you why, because we chose to do it. You
Yeah. Well,
wanna
I'm good at it. That's
Yeah.
why.
We like to listen to ourselves talk about
Exactly.
our favorite band.
Exactly.
So out of those 25 shows,
Yes.
is there a particular song or songs that you're chasing that you haven't seen yet?
Fast Enough for You. Love that song. Obviously, like I said, love Rift. That is it's something about that song. Just absolutely beautiful. The 8/17/93 version from I think it was Kansas City. Trey's most like just beautiful solo and Fast Enough for You. Chasing something like that. Well, obviously I'm never going to see that, but I would love to get a Fast Enough for You. It's funny. Of the shows that I've seen, the song I've gotten like 6 or 7 fluff heads. There's people that are still chasing Fluffhead, and I was like, well, you can have one of mine. I've had, it's obviously I had the one at 3609,
Yeah.
and then just from then on, it's like wherever I go, they play Fluffhead. They played one at Deer Creek this past time. It's like,
Dude,
same.
that's how I am with Hood. Like,
Yeah.
I'll look at my stats, and
At least Hood can get jammed out. Fluffhead, they don't really jam out. It's the same thing every
Right.
time. And
Yeah.
believe me, I love Fluffhead, but it's like,
yeah, but yeah, to your point, like what's gonna happen.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Fast Enough for You. That's such a good I love that song. It's like
Yeah.
in that same
And it's weird that I like it's a slower song. It's not something that they would typically jam out for, whatever, but it's I just love that song.
No, I'm with you. And it's in
Yeah.
that same vein, or that same like feeling, I guess you would say, that it gives you from the music and the mood of it, as like a what's the use type thing,
Oh, yes.
It's
Love
like
What's the Use too, right?
it's a good calm down, but
Yep.
it's not like a, singy song, like
Right.
quote unquote bathroom song. It's a
Right.
very good. I would love to get a Fast Enough for You too. I don't have to
Yeah.
look at my stats. I don't know if I've gotten one, but it's a great song.
Yeah, love it.
It's a great song to be chasing. On the flip side of that,
I really thought that I would get one, my first one on night 3 of Deer Creek, because they played Slow Maze, the encore, the night prior, and so I thought they would play Fast Enough for You as like a fuck you guys for shitting on Slow Maze, right?
that would be a cool tie-in, yeah.
But of course they didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, before we get into this next question, what was your thoughts, because the internet is just fucking
Yeah,
ruthless,
fuck the
dude.
internet. Yeah,
What are your thoughts on the Slow Maze?
loved it. I love Maze, believe me, and I love regular Maze. I think that maybe some folks didn't get why they were playing it. It was like corn maze thing. We were out in the middle of the cornfields there.
Yeah.
I think that's why. And I think they played it slow as a joke. Like, we do this now. We play llama slow, and I don't think Slow Maze is going to be permanent. I will be wrong. That's fine. But I loved it. I thought it was great. I got down to it.
I don't know why there was so much hate on it. And when I listened to it, it didn't bother me either. I was
Could you tell that Paige was having a hard time? He wanted to.
It sounded like everyone was having a hard time.
Like they wanted to sing regular, and like, oh wait a minute, we gotta slow down a bit here, right? Yeah.
But I liked it. It gave it like kind of like a sludgy feel, like almost funky. Like it was cool. I didn't mind it. But yeah, to your point, I don't think that I would like it if it became the new norm of playing Maze slow. Right. But yeah, it's like a one-off thing. Like it was cool. People got their panties in a lot over that one, dude.
And have we gotten a regular speed llama since the debut of Slow Llama? I think I don't know. For some reason, I think there was one. I think there's been a regular speed llama.
That's a good question
At least one.
for someone else.
Somebody that knows what they're talking about. Right. Okay. Yeah. We can move on.
On the flip side of what song you're chasing, what is a Phish song that you would be okay with never hearing again?
I hate, and I know that's a strong word.
I was about to say, that's a strong word.
I know that people in our community don't like to use that word.
Right. But you're going to.
Having said that, I hate Rise Come Together.
Gotcha.
With a passion.
Oh man, they're gonna come for us on this one.
Really?
Dude, I'm just talking about like all of the and because I'm as with you, we're 3.0 noobs.
Right.
But I feel like we're elder noobs, if I can use that word.
Yes.
And I feel like
we're like 2.5. Not really 3.0. We're 2.5. We were into it,
Yeah. We were doing this. We were getting made in fun of high school before
exactly.
Before we could go to shows, man. I feel like there's a new generation, I'll say that, of a younger Phish fan that really loves that, light, come together. We're on a soul planet together, and I love you and you love me.
Yeah, and it's all a bunch of
They really relish in that. And granted, there's nothing wrong with it. We all love the band for different.
It's kept Trey healthy, and
exactly,
and then that's his
avenue.
Great.
It's one of those things to where
but that song
just can't do it.
Yeah, right,
dude. And that's one of those things that I've fortunately been able to kind of separate myself from, because if you ask me any day of the week, do you like happy Phish or do you like dark Phish? I'm going evil Phish all day. It's what gets me off. It's what got me into it. And
I think that's part of why I love 95 so much, because there was a lot of dark, evil, gritty Phish in 95. Yeah.
94, 95.
Especially the free that you'll hear later.
It's dark.
It's dark and gritty. Yeah.
Good. I love it. With that being said, I've never really dove into the band lyrically. Yeah. I don't care what they're singing about.
It's hard to with a lot of the early, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
None of it makes sense anyway. Right, talking about bathtubs and chloroform. I don't know what's going on. I'm listening for, how the music makes me feel. I don't care if you're singing about tigers and lily patches or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. So with that being said, in this new era, and they're singing about, love and light and soul planets and all this, it doesn't really bother me as much as, it would some people, because I'm not really listening for that. I'm like, okay, we just switched to type 2. I'm engaged. What's happening? Right. Where are we going on this ride?
Right.
But I feel you, man. If I can pick, like I said, dark over light and talking about hugging everybody and all that stuff, like, I'm going to go dark.
Well, what's interesting, as much as I hate Rise Come Together, then there's Everything's Right. I love Everything's Right. I don't like the lyrics in Everything's Right, because everything is far from right. Right now.
Everything's pretty bad right now.
Yeah, right. But once you get past that, much like Soul Planet, once Soul Planet is no longer Soul Planet, it's a jam. I love it. But can you believe this? So I hate Rise Come Together, but I actually like A Wave of Hope.
A Wave of Hope. You got one of those. Was that at Deer Creek?
Yeah, that was at Deer Creek. That was a jammed out one.
Yeah.
After the which was a fantastic Yem. You had they played Yem, then you had a little vocal jam, and then you had more Yem, which was beautiful. And I think if they do that from now on, like all the time, there's going to be a lot of people that didn't like Yem because of the vocal jam that may turn around and start to actually enjoy Yem again.
And dude, it's like they should. What a missed opportunity. Should have been doing that from fucking day one.
Exactly. Right.
Because and I'll say this.
I do love the vocal jam. I'm a big fan of vocal jam, especially when it gets creepy and weird.
I am not, dude. Whenever I listen, like whenever I get one live, I love Yem.
Yeah,
I love it, just like anyone else.
Yeah.
But when it gets to like the vocal jam, if I'm listening to a recording, as soon as it gets into that, gone.
That's funny. We see that happen on JEMP Radio, because Race and I can see
how many people are listening.
Yeah, how many people. Yeah, and we'll be playing a Yem, and usually right when that vocal jam starts, it's like, oh, there goes 20 people. Yeah, right. They're like, oh, all right, see ya. And then they'll come back 10 minutes later, because it's done.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. If they had been doing that all from the beginning, yeah,
Missed opportunity.
right.
But yeah, to your point, if they keep doing that for the
Mhm,
rest of the time that they exist,
mhm.
I'm
You'll push on
fucking
through. You'll get
I'll
through it. Yeah.
absolutely. I might fast forward a little bit.
Right. Right.
But yeah. So Rise Come Together is your song.
Yeah.
Okay with Never
Yeah.
Again Again.
Yeah. Screw
Gotcha.
that song. Yeah.
I don't
They did play that at Deer Creek, and I was like, okay.
you go to the bathroom,
Yeah. Right.
you get a hot dog and a beer.
Yeah. Right.
So what are some out of the 25 shows that you've seen?
Mhm.
What are some of your favorite memories from tour? Those standout memories that you're okay with sharing on a public
Right.
platform?
So again, the Hampton '09 journey that my friend and I went on was just a debacle because of how stupid and young and green we were.
Right.
Getting your vehicle towed away in a place that you'd never been before, and literally just like walking around the streets of Hampton and getting into Newport News. And it was funny, we were in this pretty rough area, and a cop approached us, and he was like, hey, what are you guys doing? And we explained the situation, and he's like, all right, well, be careful, and drove away. And we're like, thanks. We're just two dudes that do not belong where we are,
Right.
and he didn't help us.
You're like, this is the part where the protect and serve, like this is the
Right,
serve part. Like,
exactly, right. He was like, see ya, or no, what? No, he just told us that he just punched out or something. He was done for the day, and it's like, then why did you even bother stopping, dude?
I'm clocked out, boys.
Right. And we ended up getting a ride from a very nice cab driver. Again, this was 2009, so there wasn't there wasn't Uber and Lyft and whatever. It was like a cab
Yeah.
company, and part of our problem was that we didn't have any cash on us, and at the time, they would only nobody would take cards for payment. No, none of the cab places would take cards. And she ended up giving us like a free ride to the place that we thought where my van was. We got there and the van wasn't there. We ended up going to one of their like side offices. Turns out the van was actually at their office that was right down the road from the Coliseum. We went on this magical journey, this walk and everything for nothing. It was completely pointless. And I was just laughing my ass off the entire time. And my friend, he like, we didn't
Pissed.
speak for like, months after we got back home and everything. And I thought it was great. I thought the whole thing was fantastic. It's like, we're not going to die. It'll be fine. Everything's going to work out. We're not
Making the best.
stranded. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it was fucking funny. It was my vehicle that was towed. It was my money, and
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think when disaster strikes, I think that's as long as everybody's okay. I tend to find humor and entertainment in it.
And
So
why
there was
not,
that. Yeah, and then there was the next time that he and I tried to go to a show together in 2012, and ended up being a nightmare then. Let's see. There was the time I miracled this chick in 2011 at Pine Knob, thinking that we would like end up like kind of dancing next to. No, it didn't happen. I'm so stupid. So fucking stupid. Last year at Deer Creek, hanging with my friends, my newly found like internet Twitter friends, and we all kind of met and we're hanging out for the first time for a lot of us, was really special to me, and really enjoyed being with them, and just that, just being with my friends, and musically, I would say that Pine Up, the 2011 Disease, Bowie, Fluffhead,
Yeah.
obviously Hampton '09. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
I don't have a ton of memories, I think, from tour, because I think a lot of the shows that I went by myself because I'm a loser, and but now that I actually have like friends and stuff that want to hang out and be with me and want me to be with them, God willing, I hope that I have more tour stories as the years go on.
Yeah, and that's the perfect way to say it. Is like some of those memories like don't translate well on a radio show or a podcast because you can't
You
really
just got to be
describe
there
it.
and you got to see it, right?
And it's being with your friends or
Right.
like the people that you love, the people that love you, and like getting to experience this thing that you love together.
Right.
It's like how do you describe that? How do you say that? I mean, you just start quoting the lyrics to Rise and Come Together, like just kidding.
Right.
But like that really is it's those memories.
I mean, my friends and I probably did come together a few times in some of those shows, but I don't think that's what the song is about.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't think that's what it's about.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my God. Andy, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast.
Dude, it's been a great time.
Yeah, I always love getting to do these. It's an hour of my day that I cherish and look forward to every weekend. But yeah, once again, listen to Andy and JEMP Radio. You said it was just jempradio.com, right?
Yep, JEMPradio.com. You can again, you just open up the App Store, Google Play, whatever. You can search for JEMP Radio. There's our free app. We got a new app coming, hopefully sometime this summer. Brand new, redesigned. It'll be awesome.
Perfect.
But the one we have right now works just great as well. Saturdays 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, at least until 9. Sometimes I go longer. And then during tour, like on Saturdays, I'll go on earlier if they're playing on a Saturday.
Right.
And, we'll probably do some other live stuff throughout tour as well. So I'll be around.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that. So I'm gonna stop the podcast and we'll talk logistics on Deer Creek on Pine Knob and everything like that. Thank you for listening, everyone. And please, if you're still hanging out right now, it's only a second to you, but it means the world to me. Like, share, subscribe, send this to people. It really helps. So thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode.